I'll be honest, I was a little disappointed in this episode.
Get used to disappointment.
There was a lot of information thrown at us, but I didn't feel terribly satisfied at what we got. We'll go over what happened and what we now know, and then try to draw some conclusions. Who am I? I am the BookTube Goddess, the #1 drag queen booktuber on YouTube. We are on episode 19 of the Bells Hells campaign, and I'll review this episode in terms of storytelling, so there will be spoilers. So we open with the entire party in Estani's house. Now personally, I think I would have actually preferred if it was just Imogen and Orem in the initial meeting. And it would have made this more of an Imogen and Orem focused episode, but so what? There's going to be probably, I don't know, over 100 episodes in this campaign, so why not let a few episodes focus on just a couple of the characters. And Estani is an old man of Orcish and Elvish descent who's a retired professor of astronomy. He also seems to have a penchant for limes, and we get a humorous and rather long roleplay about lime tea and pastries.
As you all kind of step within, Estani closes the door behind and looks over at the rest of you.
Well, if you are here to talk for a bit, would you like a snack or a drink of some kind?
Yes.
What do you have to drink? Yeah.
Water? Tea?
I'll have tea. Tea.
And lime juice.
Ooh.
Dealer's choice.
Surprise us.
Lime juice.
And he walks away and heads into a small kind of...
All right.
It's just a lime in it.
Wanders off to the side kitchen for a bit. You hear some rummaging and a cabinet open and slam shut. He's gathering his things, but you all kind of have a brief moment to kind of check in quietly with each other before he returns.
I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe lime juice will bring answers.
With a bit of a bump into the side, you see the small tray that he's holding itself almost tips for a second before he goes,
Here we go.
and he sets down the tray, and you can see a cluster of modest mugs that are kind of gathered on one side of this tray. The other has these somewhat, almost like a matching mossy green coloration biscuits on them. At first glance, you worried maybe they'd been out too long and mold's taken them, but even a quick glance, you look at the coloration is intentional, and they do appear to be fresh. The cups themselves, you can see a little bit of steam rising off them in the moist air. You're like, oh, not entirely certain what this is, but at least it looks warm and comforting.
Please, find if you can find a stool, you are welcome to sit.
Thank you for letting us into your home.
Of course, of course.
Sits down and takes one of the mugs and kind of warms his hands on it for a second before sipping.
I'm just gonna stand to the side.
Where's the seat? Is that warm lime juice?
I don't know. I'm gonna try it. Is it?
Is it like
Hopefully it's the tea.
is it a hot toddy but with lime?
Without the toddy part, it is hot and it is lime.
Just hot water and lime
juice?
juice.
Or no water? Is it
Just
just
hot
lime
lime?
juice, or is it?
It's probably
packed with?
like equal parts.
Does this person still have enamel on his teeth?
You haven't looked.
I know. I'm like, it sounds kind of good. I would
have. Oh, yeah.
I passed one to Fern.
Oh, thank you so much.
I haven't tried the biscuit yet.
Yeah.
Maybe it's lime biscuits.
God.
It's got a real sour kick to it. Yeah, it definitely hits you. Burns the surface of the tongue, but it wakes you up, most certainly. The biscuit,
clear you out.
the biscuits are very dry but very sweet, and you trying them after the lime juice, you find that that's where their unique mixture hits. The direct sourness of the The drink mixed with the dryness and the sweetness of the biscuit creates this almost like tang when combined.
Like lemonade.
It's surprisingly delicious when you combine the two.
My tongue is numb.
Take a sip of them. Take a sip of tea.
Oh, that.
Shouldn't be that good, honestly.
No,
All right.
that's weird.
Well,
Bit
sir.
unorthodox, I'm sure.
Pastries are definitely a running theme in this campaign. Anyway, we learn that the Loomis twins were killed by hooded figures and that Oshad Brescio managed to kill one of them, but that person melted into a black liquid like the attackers of the Ashtari that Orem is trying to track down. Remember, this is personal for Orem because that attack killed his husband. But there is really no lead on who the attackers are or where to find out more information. We do learn the attackers dropped out of trees, which may have been how they appeared in the Ashtari. I don't remember, I don't know. And they used poisoned weapons, which is why Oshad Brescia was such a long time in recovering. We do get much more information, though, where Imogen is concerned. The Loomis twins were consulting Estani on some astronomical phenomena involving one of Exandria's 2 moons, the small red moon Rudius. And there is apparently a lot of lore involving Rudius-born, that is, people who are born during some type of flare-ups on Rudius. So, Rudius-born are allegedly destined for big events. Though there's controversy over whether it's good or bad, some people believe it's always an ill omen. Rudius-born may also have bad dreams and psychic powers, so I think it's a safe bet to say that Imogen is Rudius-born. The party was trying to see if they could get some type of ephemeris or something to see if Imogen was born under this Rudius flare, but apparently the only way is to go to the Omen archives in Yeos. Unfortunately, all the papers or research of the Loomis twins were apparently taken during the attack that killed them. They don't get much more information beyond that. They do find out that there's an archaeologist in town. They also ask about Professor Kadja Sumal, who wrote the book that Imogen had discovered, but they do not ask about Grizz Alacritus, the goblin archaeologist whose rooms were ransacked by Lady Emmeth Kane. Whoever was behind those attacks were obviously searching for something. So then we get a shopping episode. The party splits up into 3 groups to hit 3 shops. Fern, Chetney, and Laudna go to a general store and they get a lot of fishing equipment. And some limes. They do get some limes. Fresh cut grass and Orem go to an alchemist where they find out the party before them has bought out a lot of the magic supplies, but they do manage to get a few items, but they don't seem to have much money, which is weird, because didn't Lord Esteros pay them handsomely? So why are they broke? What are they doing with their money? Finally, Ashton and Imogen go to what they think is an antique store, but really is a toy store. And apparently the toy maker there once worked with a person named Otgar. And by Chetney's reaction, there's some bad blood between him and Otgar.
Do you have anything that,
Magical in nature, maybe. Super surprising. Unusual, very old.
Certainly. There's a piece in particular that was designed by my trainer before me, who's quite the master of toy making himself. Let me just remember.
what was his name?
His name was Otgar.
Oatgar.
Is that true?
Sorry. Yeah, Oatgar or Oakgar?
Otgar.
Yeah.
There they buy a music box and a marionette. Well, who knows why, but I think there's some plan to use them for the heist. Oh, remember, there is a heist, and they're gathering equipment for this museum heist. We'll discuss this later because I have some thoughts. Then we return to Estani to look through his massive telescope to get a good look at Rudius. There were some rolls for perception, but Imogen didn't roll well. However, Orem did roll well, and he was able to use his roll to let Imogen see the surface of Rudius, where she saw red storms brewing, much like what she has seen in her dreams. And speaking of dreams, she has another one that night. Only this time, instead of running away, she confronts the red storm.
I take a step forward.
Towards the house?
No.
Towards the storm. The wind is now blasting your face. Around you, you hear the sounds. The wind is battering you. Your eyes, you're having to squint to keep it from blinding you, but you look forward, you take a step into the storm, and as you do, it gets stronger, colder. What do you do?
Mother. Run. Why? Where are you?
Run, Imogen. Run.
I don't want to run anymore. I don't know what to do anymore. I walk forward.
Further into the storm. You take another step. And another. Your eyes sting from the wind. All around you is just this landscape of endless black and red. The light begins to darken. You feel alone. And then you're not. Before you, you see a shape, a shadow, standing there. A woman, strong, defiant. You see not a face in this outline, just a figure standing there. And you watch as other outlines step out from behind it. 2, 4, 8.
Do they feel scary? Do they feel...
They just stand there. And one at the front. You can't even see it, but you sense a smile. Not comforting. Intent. Focused. Maliceful.
So there's some woman in the storm and other figures behind her. Or maybe they're all her and she's just duplicating herself. It's a little unclear to me, except this woman is not Imogen's mother. We also get a big reveal about the markings on Imogen's arms.
I'm gonna check her markings.
Good idea.
Okay. You can make a medicine check or an investigation check, your choice.
Okay. Can you pass me a cleaner? Natural 20. Ooh.
Natural 20.
I can't stand that.
Come on. Interesting. It's extremely faint. But those markings on her skin appear to have just ever so slightly grown.
Ooh.
Ever so slightly, 1/4 of an inch. If.
Well, This all seems normal. Yeah. I'm just kidding. They've grown a little bit. I'm sorry. I just was trying to keep you calm, and then I don't. I'm not good at that.
What do you mean they've grown?
Oh, they just sit there a little bit longer. I remember last time they were by this mole.
Oh,
Not that I'm staring at you intently. And then they just grew a little bit more.
Oh my God, you're right. In fact, would Laudna remember if, like, slowly over the past 2.5 years of being with Imogen, if they feel like they've slowly creeped up over time? Or is it just unique to this one?
I'll ask you, Imogen. What do you think? Incrementally. Slow enough to the point where unless you looked for it intently, it would be too gradual to make note of it. At least in the time that you've known her.
Rings on a tree.
Yeah. But as long as you've had it, you definitely know it's been a very slow, continued spread.
Finally, we get to the museum heist. I really do love Evan Hytroga, the person in charge of this heist game who owns a museum. He's a very interesting character.
Ivan raises his hands. Ha! Welcome! It seems everybody has arrived, which means the events are at hand.
We do find out that the opposition, who they're going up against, is called The Verdict, and were indeed the group they met on the road into the Heartmoor. The game is a search for an earring. Whoever can enter the museum, grab the earring, and bring it back before dawn to Evan Hytroga wins. If no one is able to do that, if neither team is able to do that, in other words, then Evan Hytroga wins. And the episode, of course, ends when the game begins. Let me just say, I personally am not very invested in this heist game. It seems a little frivolous and has nothing to do with the main storyline, and the stakes seem a little low, so I'm fairly meh about the whole thing. But Matt has surprised us before, so we shall see. I will say there was a huge missed opportunity of not taking that museum tour, even if they were blocked from entering the museum before because they announced that they were sent there by Gianna Hexam. They could have at least tried to have someone disguise themselves as a tourist to take the tour. I think that would have been pretty good. But anyway, regarding the main storyline, the villain or the boss or the group behind everything is obviously searching for something involving the Rudiusborn. They got the research from the Loomis twins, and they were also searching for something in the room of Grizz Alacritist, which is a room that Lady Emeth had ransacked. And Grizz is an archaeologist, so maybe they're searching for an archaeological site, maybe having to do with the Rudiusborn. They could have been behind the theft of the Golem. I'm not sure how that would connect. They were involved with smuggling Broomstone, which they used on the mutated Shade Mother, but maybe they're using the Broomstone for other things as well. We know the Nightmare King is involved, who probably was responsible for mutating the Shade Mother, but also, didn't they say he was being used to create a diversion or sow chaos in Drusar? I'm not that quite clear on that. But what about the attack on the Ashari? Were they gathering information or did they steal anything? There are so many interesting pieces to this puzzle, but there are just not enough pieces to fit everything together. If you have any ideas, let me know down in the comments. But that's why I'm not invested in this heist. It just doesn't seem to move this storyline forward, the storyline I'm interested in. But of course, next week, I could be proven totally wrong. But what do you think? Am I being too critical of Critical Role? Let me know in the comments. And while you're there, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I do recaps of Critical Role every week, but I also do videos on books. If you are interested in one of my book reviews, you can find one right here. Until we meet again, may all the books you read and the campaigns you play in be blessed.